extremely delighted to welcome our guest, Dr. Uma Sangarpandi. It gives me immense happiness to welcome our principal, Dr. Sujesh CP. He is the energy behind all these activities. Warm welcome to IQAC coordinator, Dr. Shaji Maramvitil, webinar coordinator, Mr. A.M. Abdul Salam. Very cheerful welcome to all teachers in and out of the stage and students to be part of the program. Now, let me introduce the chief guest of the day, Dr. Uma Sangarpandi. Dr. Uma Sangarpandi is an associate professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Surendranath College for Women, Kolkata. He is a PhD supervisor at the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, University of Calcutta. He is the first Indian ambassador of the International Association for Media and Communication Research. He has completed the United States Institute program conducted at the Ohio University, USA in 2015. Dr. Pandey is a member board of studies at a number of Indian universities. He has presented papers in a number of international conferences. Before joining academics, he was a senior journalist with the English national daily, The Asian Age, Kolkata. He is an editorial board member of a number of international journals. Published over 25 papers in referred journals and has authored 4 books. He was awarded the Best Media Educator of India Award by the Business World in November 2018. He has conducted training programs and workshops at different parts of the country. He is also a visiting faculty at a number of national and international universities and institutes. I think we will have a great time ahead. Thank you. Now I invite Dr. Viji Prashant, HOD Department of English, R. Shankar Memorial SNDP Yogam, Arts and Science College, Koilandi, to chair the program. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Merlin. Most respected speaker of the day, Dr. Uma Sangarpandi, respected principal of our college, Dr. CP Sujesh, program coordinator, Dr. Abdul Salam, then IQAC coordinator, Dr. Shaji Maramvitil, and the department, journalism department, head of the department, Dr. Merlin, my dear colleagues and students from various departments. A warm welcome to all of you to this program. And perhaps we are coming to the lag end of our webinar series. And the last, but not least in importance, the webinar is going to be on your most contemporary and most relevant kind of a topic. And I'm extremely honored to be chairing this particular session. And moreover, I'm quite happy that I'm actually introducing a very new contemporary topic where we are all stakeholders. There is nobody can actually stand apart. And when I was a child, during my childhood days, newspaper was the one and only thing where we could connect with the world. And I still remember we are fighting when we children, we used to fight for pages, and at times we tear the pages apart and read part of it. That was the kind of a memory we had. But as then when things changed and time grew, what happened is that digital media has come up, because you are all now product. Most of my children who are listening to this entertainment webinar, you are all product of this digital media. And this is now, media has been renamed in India and everywhere globally as media and entertainment industry. Right? And entertainment has become part and parcel of this media as well. So I mean, definitely the speaker will be coming. I'm just giving a curtain riser, just giving an introduction to that. And the big advantage between newspaper and digital media is that this particular world is ruled by the choice of the customer. If you're not happy with anything, you just vanish. You don't watch it at all. Even if the YouTube video is very good, if nobody watches, it doesn't click. Unlike the newspaper, where we never had a choice. I never could choose the topic or advertisement of the newspaper to be appeared. Definitely, our generation never liked advertisement on the first page. But now people come with a lot of advertisements on the very first page. But maybe this generation might like it, I don't know. And the question of piracy is again going to be another. Definitely this is an area of concern. I'll also be touching upon it a little later. And you have a Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, where you quote that according to the studies, the industry of entertainment in India is now $18 billion, and which is likely to cross 100 by 2025. Of course, I could understand this very easily because we are all now connected to media, and social media and industry, digital industry is much powerful, and everybody can have a stake on that. And newspaper digitalization, every newspaper has now a digital version. I was just talking to Dr. Pandey about that. If you don't upgrade, you just perish like a Nokia phone, right? And naturally, you have OTT platforms now, you have DTH services. Music is a very big industry, and film industry, and another very upcoming industry is a gaming industry. So India is a right kind of a market for a very potential for growth for the future. But however, we have a shortfall. We have a drawback. That is, we don't have a law that is adequately supporting many of the activities. Indian Penal Code is dated back to 1860. It is as old as 200 years. Prasar Bharati Bill 1990, and the Cinematograph Act 1952, and Cable Television Network Act 1994. You don't even have a single act which is 2000 plus 2000. So this is to be one of the major challenges we will be facing. In India, anybody can go. Bahubali, all of you may remember that Bahubali was released one day prior to his actual release on a pirated websites. So this is a big challenge because we don't have adequate laws and nobody can do anything with that. So news has now become redefined. News has been our fingertips, and you get an update. Every 1 hour you get an update. Unlike the newspaper we used to read, the news is born not on a day basis, but on a hour basis or on a minute basis. This is a major change I find in accessing the news time. And online gaming has been very popular in India. Now, by 2020, it is $930 million worth, US dollar worth, and it is expected to grow to 3.8 billion by 2025. So there is an exponential growth. Definitely, we can look forward to that. And definitely, there are advertisements, subscriptions. Now we have so many channels, so many, including Amazon, where subscription-based channels are coming up. And you have music channels like Spotify, where you just either you can be freely, you can access free to many of the things, or definitely you can pay money and do it. So this kind of a thing is going to change. So the kind of environment that our generation or my generation was exposed to is not the kind of a environment that you are exposed to. And maybe in another 10 years, we'll again have a very drastic kind of a change. And I think nowadays, nobody would, my generation would always like to read pages. We would like to hold our book in our hand and read it. Now that has been changed. My children, and even my two sons, they never read books. They only read Kindle versions of it. So this is the kind of a change I could even see at my home. And definitely this is the kind of a change I think it is everywhere. So a very warm welcome you, sir, to have a topic to be introduced. That is a new trend. So let us listen to the new trends from the actual guru from the college in Calcutta. So with all our prayers and hearty welcome, we introduce you, or we welcome you to have your session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Dr. Prashant, for such an erudite elucidation of all the issues concerning media today. I thank all my colleagues at RSM, SNDP, Yogam College, Koilandi for this wonderful international webinar series, especially the Honorable Principal, Dr. Sujesh CP, sir. Dr. Merlin Abraham and I have been having this discussion about this for quite some time, and I thank Dr. Abraham for inviting me and for arranging this. Thanks to the IQAC coordinator, to the webinar coordinator, all our friends and students there. I hope my accent is clear. If there is some problem, just let me know. I would love to repeat.
It's very clear, sir.
Thank you so much. there is a lot of similarity between our two lands of Kerala and Bengal. And, while we were growing up, most of our speeches were from that God's own country. So we have grown up listening to, wonderful people from Kerala. And it's always a huge honor speaking to colleagues there. So apart from football and so many other things, there are so many similarities we used to, but that is for another time. Today, we'll just talk about the media. So with your permission, I'll try and share my presentation. So I plan to talk about some of these. I hope this is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, I'll try and give you an overview plus some of the important issues that are very relevant to our field. As I said, especially students, if there is anything, just either through the chat box or whatever, just let me know. I'll probably try and elucidate more on that. Now, this is what we say is an ontological challenge. What basically means is that what is journalism or what is journalistic output is very different from what it used to be. Because it is no longer the journalists themselves who are doing this content production. There are many other people. There are community blogs, there are corporate communications offices, there are non-profit organizations, there are NGOs, advocacy groups who are producing a very similar kind of content that journalists do. So we are in fact kind of competing with a lot of these people. So that is one what is regarded as a challenge of ontology, because it's what is journalism? So it's no longer what professional journalists are producing, but it's a lot of it is by people who are not trained in this particular field, or who have little interest about journalism and how these things work. Yet a lot of this output is produced by people who are not journalists. And this has been spoken of in a lot of recent journalism literature, especially in this article in the journal Journalism, which is there at the bottom of your screen, if you can see that. It's called the Ontology of Journalism. So this is one problem that we face, or this is one challenge that journalists have to face. And one thing that we must, all of us, while the Honorable Chair was also talking about that, this is one of the most influential knowledge producing institutions in the modern era. So a lot of the knowledge that seeps through the society is through journalism and journalistic output. And when I talk of journalism, I mean everything from print to television to internet to even films and radio and so on and so forth. So that is, we understand the implications of building trust in journalism, because many reports, and I don't want to go into that direction in today's deliberation, they speak of this losing trust in journalism. So there is this challenge of rebuilding trust in journalism, because we recently had a digital news report by Reuters, and they did that study in many countries across the world. And they found out that it was the public media like Doordarshan and All India Radio which had the highest amount of trust. When it came to the private media, that trust was not that much there. So this rebuilding trust for journalism as a field is a requirement. And I suggest that it requires new ways to connect with communities, because this lack of connect is very much there, because what journalists think is what will interest readers probably may not be true. So this is one major problem of trying to build trust in journalism through connections with communities, by trying to find out what is it that they require. And this requires not just new products, but new approaches. So we'll talk about what these new products are. So that is what the future opportunities part of this particular presentation is. And I will also talk about a concept of design thinking, where we keep the user experience in the middle. So when we think on behalf of the user, if you ask any journalist or any media person that why is this content being produced, many of them will come up with the answer that, okay, our readers might like it, or we think that our readers will like it, or our viewers or our listeners will like it. But often there is no scientific way of trying to find out what is it that the end user actually wants to read or listen or to view or such things. So that is where this design thinking approach becomes important. I'll come back to this design thinking approach also at the end of today's discussion. Another point which I want everyone to ponder about is what we say are two diverging epistemological oddities, in fact. At one end, and I'm sure that this will sound very familiar, journalism makes very, very modest claims because their job is very simple, just to report the news of the day as quickly as possible. It's that simple. So just the news of the day reported as quickly as possible. But at the other end, journalism makes certain claims, or journalism assumes that it has the right tools to find out what is that reality or what is the truth. So that is one assumption that journalism makes. And this is what makes the study of journalism, or this is what makes media studies such an interesting discipline, because it deals with these two divergent epistemological claims. One is very modest, that your job is very simple. Whatever is happening, you find out and just report it and do that quickly. At the other end, you're assuming that we have the right tools to measure out what is the reality. And that is why we have this option, or this case where we talk of multiple realities. Different people believe in different kinds of different things about the same event, for example. This is from C.W. Anderson's book called Apostles of Certainty, and this is about from Oxford Press, and this is a very influential book these days. So one is the ontological challenge, which is about what is journalism, and the second is these two divergent things where journalism assumes that it has the right tools to find out what is reality. If you come to think of it, am I audible? Is it clear? Am I going too fast?
Yes, you're audible.
And am I going too fast? Should I slow down or something?
It's okay, sir. Pace is okay.
Oh, thank you, sir. So basically, journalism deals with three kinds of news, or used to deal with these three kinds of news before the digital era. And if you see anything, then you will see that it all falls into this kind of a category. One is routine. That means you are planning the news and you're promoting it yourself. So it could be a film that you're promoting. It could be a political statement that you're promoting. It could be a new, some information that you want to put out. So the person who's planning the news and promoting the news are the same people. So when people call a press conference, or when people give out certain press releases, or when people give out certain information, that is routine. So that the majority of the news is routine, because people plan it and promote it themselves. The other kind, and this is what makes a lot of, this is what creates a lot of impact, which is basically scandal. And what it means is that it is planned and promoted by someone else. Lot of the investigative stories we see are leaks provided by people who are either opposed to that particular group, or they have some axe to grind. So a lot of this news is scandal where you are promoting, or you are putting out something bad about a group or a party or somebody who you do not like. So you do not like ABC, so you bring out all the bad things about him or her and you give it out to the press, and they will do their due diligence and they will promote it. So the second type, and you might have found out a lot of those things. So whenever these negative stories are there, then somebody has kind of leaked it, or somebody has done something. Of course, there are journalistic investigations, but much of it is dependent on some insider bringing it out. And the third is basically accident. It just happens. You're not sure. It just lands up at you, or it might be just an actual accident. You didn't know that it might happen. So come to think of it, all news is of these three types. It's either a routine, or it's a scandal, or it's an accident. So basically, this is what is a part of media sociology. So I don't want to get into the theoretical details, but they're all a part of things that we do. I'll zoom this because this is a very important figure, and this needs a little bit of elucidation about the ecosystem that we are dealing with, and why the media in India also needs to think about. Can you see this? I mean, is it visible on the screen after I zoom it?
It's visible.
Yeah. Okay. So across the world, this citizen-driven democracy, where we are not just passive spectators, but we are actual participants. So we are not just subjects, but we become citizens. So this is one thing that is happening the world over. It's happening in many places in India as well, where the civil society has a very important role to play. And this is what I spoke of when I was talking about the lack of trust in institutions. So this lack of trust is seen in many institutions. Many people do not trust politicians. Many people do not trust even religious leaders or other such institutions. So this lack of trust in public institution is another fact that we have to live with, or this is another fact that journalism has to contend with. Fake news, of course, is a term that most of us are by now conversant with. Much of it is about misinformation and disinformation, and this is also because of technology. Technology makes it much easier to not only produce such content but also disseminate it to a lot of other places. I'll skip this issue of anti-globalization. I just want to concentrate into certain. This is again a very important point about information being contested. All the information is not the information. So there are two sides of it. So if you say that Mr. AB is good, there are other people who will say that, okay, this is not good because of this. Or if you say that, okay, this is how it is, the other person will say that there is another perspective of looking at it. So every information in the public domain is contested for a number of reasons. So there is no absolute truth in that particular case. So in most of the cases anyway. So this is another challenge that journalists have to contend with. I'm not sure about, although I have some wonderful friends in the Kerala media also, but I'm not sure how your television show works. But in Bengal and in many places in North, we have this battle of experts. So it's very easy for the TV studio. You bring in two people opposed on everything, and they will sit down and they will for hours, they will just keep on talking about their point of view. So it's experts on both sides of the opinion, and they just, there is that the media is almost a battleground for those experts. And television, of course, gives people a very good chance of just hitting out at each other. So this battle of experts is what is happening not only on the visible platform that we see, but often behind the scenes as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. So there is this increased empowerment of consumers. Consumers are important. When I was talking about the design thinking approach, this is what I spoke of then as well. This public health scare and environmental disaster. Post-COVID, I mean, I cannot overemphasize the public scare aspect of it. So this is something that we'll have to live with it. And as many experts have suggested that we might end an endemic stage where for a few years we'll have to live with corona in certain terms. And of course, environmental disasters. I mean, there is this climate change summit happening right now, so we know what this situation is. So this is also something that we'll have to contend with in media. Polarized trust in social media. So if you are into social media, and if you've seen the way in which Facebook and this metaverse and all these things have come out, one of the algorithms by which media like Facebook and even Twitter work is by making people angry. If there are issues which make us angry, we are more likely to engage with it. if I like if I see a content on Facebook or Twitter, for example, and if I like it, I'm happy. I'll just press the like, or I might just say good, fabulous, whatever. But if I'm angry about certain things, I'll write a lot more about that. And this to and fro will continue, and you'll spend more time on the media, or more time on the social media. So this is one of the algorithmic problems which make people more angry, more outraged, more negative in that particular sense. So that is why this social media has led to a lot more social divisions than it used to be. Internet is the main media these days. So again, that is a very, very important thing to understand, that we are into, and I will talk about a little bit more about the digital media in a moment's time. So this is of course, another thing is this demand for scrutiny and consultation of government. So these are some of the issues that we are faced with. Any questions from the audience about any of these things before I go ahead?
Sir, I think we'll put the questions at the end.
At the end, okay, sir. Okay, sir. So this is from available figures. This is from the FICCI figure, So the highest growth of the digital population, India is having one of the highest growths. It was around 20 crores in February 2017. And the figures that we have for December 2020 is around 47 crores. So this is a million. So I'm just talking about crores. And of course, China is larger, but it's a different thing because it's not integrated with the rest of the social media ecosystem. So they have their own social media infrastructure, so on and so forth. If you look at it this way, then India has had some of the highest growth over the last 3-4 years. So the digital population, it is even growing, and with the fiber net infrastructure and all that is coming up, this digital population will grow not only in quantity but also in quality, because a lot of Indian languages will come up. Because a lot of the internet is in English these days, but we'll have a lot more in Malayalam, in Telugu, in Odia, in Bangla, in Hindi, and all these languages. So this is going to change the internet, not only in terms of the number of people who are on the internet, but in terms of the kind of people who are on internet as well. So I'll just in the next few slides I'll talk about the Indian print media, and then we'll go back to our original discussion. So this is just about some of the things that the Indian media, the print, the newspaper industry has faced with. And this needs no saying that I'm sure you realize that the Indian print media is largely dependent on advertisement revenue. In fact, we say that the newspaper is probably the only product which you buy at a price lower than its cost price. If you were to buy, I don't know, I guess Malayalam Manorama is the highest selling newspaper in Kerala, or is it some other newspaper?
This is Malayalam Manorama.
Malayalam Manorama. So it is, suppose, say for example, what is the cost of a newspaper every day? Is it 5 rupees, or what is it?
The circulation, I mean, readership is almost, I think, into...
Oh, the price per copy, I mean, if you...
Yeah, price per copy is 650 or something. Okay, 6
or 7 rupees. So if you were to buy those plain pages of paper, that will cost more than 6 rupees, and they are giving you, that for just 6 rupees, because they are subsidized by the advertising industry. So our print media revenue model is mostly based on advertising, because if we increase the price of newspapers, people might not buy it. So it is based on the advertising industry, and because of the pandemic and because of this recent global issues, the advertising revenue has fallen, drastically from 2019 to 2020, and even in this year, it's supposed to keep on at the lower end, and even in 2023, the advertising revenue will not reach the 2019 level. So this is falling. So that is why we are seeing a lot of people losing jobs in traditional legacy media outlets. And that is because even the circulation revenue is not, circulation means the amount of money you pay for buying the newspaper. And advertising is the money that the advertisers pay for putting their advertisements on the newspaper. So the circulation revenue is also going down. So in the last year, of course, it has gone down because many people stopped buying newspapers. And it is supposed to not rise too much in the next 3 or 4 years. So this is one thing that we are going through. So these are all in billion rupees, and this is the breakup for the revenue of all these different media. So if I can just, so these are for the same year. So this is for 2019, this is for 2020, this is for 2021 estimate, and this is for 2023, as I told you, the estimates. So the television is the revenue, they have risen only about 7%, as you can see. And in fact, gone down 7%. The print media, we just saw it has gone down by almost 11%. It is only in 2023 that it will see some kind of a rise. So all the industries, they are going down. It's only the digital media, for example, which is supposed to have a very good revenue over the next 3 or 4 years. Similarly for online gaming and the film entertainment, and I will talk about all these things in another slide also in a moment's time. So these are the estimates provided by the Ernst & Young FICCI Media and Entertainment Report, March 2021. So these are the realities, the industry figures of what is happening. So it's in the digital that the highest amount of growth is seen, and also in things like live events and all, but there the revenue itself is slightly smaller. So we have these different kinds of industries which they suggest. So this is the video. So video includes television. It includes the OTT platforms also. The experiential, so they're using both in the video. So when we were talking about these video figures, we're including both. So in experiential means the online gaming and this out-of-home entertainment, so on and so forth. And there is textual, which is about print, online news and all. And this is audio. So in 2019, the share of video was 55%. In 23, the share of video is supposed to be 61%. And as you can see, the textual or the print and online news, it is supposed to go down from 19% to 14%. So it's the video platform which is rising, and it is the textual platform which is going down. And the other things, about the cinema and this gaming and all that, they are supposed to remain roughly the same. So it is the video, and as you can realize, it's largely digital these days, and more of it is in the OTT platform. So that is supposed to rise over the next 2 or 3 years. Last year was very different because of pandemic. So that is where most of the people were home and they were watching more of video content and all. That is why it was 69% of the revenue share, and that is when the text, the print and the online news, it made a fall from 19% to 12%. So I hope these, I have tried to keep these figures very, very as less as possible, just to give an idea about the macro picture about what is happening. So the video industry, the video means, as I said, television, and it also means OTT. So that is where the future is in terms of the total revenue of the entire media. So if we just see the media consumption change post the pandemic. So just to, maybe just clarify it a little bit. So this means less than before, this means same as before, this means more or much more than before. So if you see that the online thing is they're saying is 52% more than before. So because of pandemic, people are consuming more online news. So people are asked, whether their media consumption has changed post the pandemic. So the online is more, 52% more than before. Online gaming is also 39% more than before. Radio, on the other hand, you just see this one. It is 21% less than before. So 21% people they're saying that it is less than before, and 30% people say that they're reading less newspaper and magazines. Only 14% people say that they are reading newspaper or magazines more than they used to do before the pandemic. So as you can see, 52% people are consuming more online news. So that is where one of the future trends lie. So this is about consumption and what are the kinds of advertisements which are the industries which are spending on advertisements in our media. So the FMCGs, the fast moving consumer goods, they spent about 50%, 51% of the total revenue, of the media came from FMCGs last year in 2020. And actually it went down by 9%. But as you can understand, this is where the growth of advertisement was, your Amazon and Flipkart and Myntra and Edu and all those e-commerce platforms, they contributed more to the media revenue compared to the previous year. So this is where one of the growth is about the e-commerce platforms, because they were the ones who were spending more money. Often, we open newspaper these days. It was the festive season here in Bengal this month and the first week of the next month as well. And that's where we find out all, advertisements about Flipkart and Amazon and all these things. So it's the e-commerce, it means, has been doing very well, and they are the ones who have supported media in a certain way the last year. New advertisements, it's largely been in these particular channel genres. So Tamil news, the Tamil news had a lot more new advertisers compared to everybody else. So for whatever reason, there were a lot more advertisers flocking to Tamil news last year. Probably it could be also because of the fact that elections were there and people were coming there. Bengali Kids channel also, probably because most of the kids were staying home, so they were the viewers. So why in Bengal and not in other states, that is something that needs to be watched. And GEC means General Entertainment Channels. So the Punjabi General Entertainment Channels also saw a lot of new advertisers. So this is, as we see, it's in the Indian languages that media is growing more. So this again, I'll try and zoom it a bit. So this is about viewership change. For whatever reason, the viewership change was the highest in the Gujarati channels, 57%. So probably the pandemic led to a lot more people in Gujarat to watch channels. Even in Kerala, it was 11% more than before. And strangely, in Kannada and in Marathi and all these languages, in English, that was the biggest fall of viewers, because when people were staying home, they would prefer to watch their language channels compared to the English channels. So the English channels, which used to be demanding high advertisement revenues, they saw a steep fall. And so did Kannada, for example, although the fall is not too much. Even Assamese channels saw a fall of about 15% readership. But this is where the growth was in Gujarati language, in Punjabi, in Tamil, in Hindi, in Malayalam. Hindi and Malayalam were roughly the same. This is something very interesting, and this is what is going to drive the change, and this is where the future is. That is why a lot of our media is going digital, and digital in a sense where it's not just a print version of the digital, but with all those interactivity and the affordances that technology can provide. Because a lot of digital newspapers are just like e-papers. They're just instead of a paper format, they're in the digital soft format. but there will be a lot more interactivity and there will be a lot more of those multimedia content as we go along. So the total internet subscribers, this is in millions. So you just put it in crores. So it is about 72 crores in December. It became about almost 80 crores in December 2020. So we don't have figures for December 21, obviously. Narrowband. So people who are using low speed internet, their number is going down. People broadband subscribers, it's going up. In fact, in just 1 year, it went substantially from 66 crore to almost 75 crore, which is quite a large number. The growth is probably a little bit more in rural internet because that is where the opportunities for more internet subscribers is there. And urban also, we had a lot of subscribers in the urban areas also. So we have a lot of people becoming internet subscribers, and that is why a lot of this content is mobile first content. So for example, when we design websites or whatever, or any other content, we want to see that how will it appear on the mobile phone. Earlier, it used to be the other way. So it was meant to be viewed on your computer screen, and we were not so much bothered about other platforms. But it's the mobile first that is important these days, and that's because this mobile internet is one of the biggest drivers of media content. And this is where we are very high, and probably these days, we can't blame the students because their classes are on mobile phones these days. And it's not just classes. So as teachers also, we are creating a lot of our content, on YouTube and all, and sharing with students. So they have to spend many hours on mobile phones regularly. So these days, it's not only for entertainment or for watching movies or for listening to songs and all, but it's also educational content. But Indonesia, for whatever reasons, Indonesians spend their highest time on mobile phones per day per user. It is 5.2 hours per day per user. Doesn't mean that everybody is using 5.2 hours. It's the average. So maybe there are some people who use it for 10 or 12 hours a day. There are some people who use it for 1 or 2 hours. But the average in Indonesia is the highest. 5.2 hours per user per day. Brazil is the second, and we are number 3 there, 4.6 hours, which is a huge number. So that means 4 hours and 36 minutes. So this is the average time that an Indian spends. So if you're spending less than 4 hours, 36 minutes on mobile every day, you are less than the national average. And if you're spending more than that, then you're above the national average. Other countries like Germany and France, for example, it's less than 3 hours. UK also is just about 3 hours. So we are much ahead. We are spending almost 50% more time on internet than these developed countries. This is about the news and magazine app downloads in millions. So these news and magazine app downloads have risen very much in the last year. It's about 30 crores. So people are consuming, and a lot of our students are consuming content on mobile applications these days. So these are about news and magazines. So it could be Malayalam Manorama, it could be the Hindu, it could be the Telegraph, and all such things. So this is also shown a bigger increase. So that's what I was referring to when I meant mobile content. A lot of content is on mobile these days. How much time do I have, sir?
Yeah, I can take 10 to 15 minutes more, sir.
Okay, so I'll wind up in 10 minutes. Thank you so much, sir. So the digital subscription is also on the rise because people are willing to pay for digital content. And this is a new thing. And that's why, we have a lot of people who are willing to pay for Netflix. Amazon Prime comes with your, the Prime Video comes with that, but people are willing to pay either separately or as a bundle. So people are willing, and all those things like Spotify and all that. So people are going for these paid connections. So these many billion, 1 billion means 100 crores. So it was about 5,600 crore Indian rupees in the video, and about 130 crores in audio. So there's still a lot of, as you can see, a scope for growth in this digital subscription, where you pay for content you watch. So this is the global trend, especially because of COVID, and this is where a lot of positive things also happened, in the sense that the trust was restored in journalism, because many people got the news that they wanted, especially about health concerns and all those things from yes, Varsha, you have a question? There's a hand raised. Is there a question or something?
I will answer the question at the end.
Okay.
Maybe it is by mistake. We'll check it out.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. So this shift to paid content, this is because it's important. If you remember a few slides ago, I was showing you how the advertisement revenue is falling. So that is why it's important for news, media organizations to go for this paid content. So if you're not paying for news, for example, there are organizations like News Laundry, for example, where you have to pay 300 rupees per month to access the content. Otherwise, they cannot survive. So many news media institutions, they do not depend on advertisements only. They depend on this subscription amount that you pay them. So there are a lot of revenue diversification methods also. So it's not only just advertisement and subscription, but many other kind of e-commerce events and live events and so much more. There are lots of experimentation going on in media as well. The use of artificial intelligence and all. I'll just talk in a moment's time. And better user experience and this design thinking. These are some of the things that are happening. So very quickly, I'll talk about two very important trends. One is, of course, the artificial intelligence, and if I don't talk about that, I'll be missing out on one of the most important future trends that we talk about. So just next 3 or 4 minutes, I'll talk about artificial intelligence and some bit about data journalism as well, and that's how I will end it. So there is a lot of change happening in the media institutions across the world, because there are these artificial intelligence affordances available. I'm sure many of us already know about these uses of artificial intelligence, especially natural language processing. When you type some email on your Gmail or whatever, the Gmail kind of predicts what you might type later, or it tells you that your next word could be this particular thing. So that is because the algorithm has been trained in natural language, and they can generate your next sentence, or they can generate those sentences out of those words or the thought that you are going forward. So this technology has revolutionized many industries, and it will revolutionize the news industry as well. So when I talk about artificial intelligence, I do not I'm not talking about people having metallic brains or something, but it's about a technique in which I train a statistical model to make certain predictions or to do certain tasks. So for example, this is where the automated news started coming up, and a lot of it is when you have those chat bots which are answering to you, or some of those automated responses. So this is how it works. So on March 17, 2014, a 4.7 magnitude earthquake struck Los Angeles, and within 3 minutes, the news was there on the website of Los Angeles Times. Otherwise, if a reporter were to talk to the source and to find out and then to write it, etc., it might have taken at least half an hour, if not more. But it was just 3 minutes from the thing actually happening and coming out onto the website. Because much of this is automated, how to find out where certain things are happening, and then to create a readable version of it, and then post it out for our viewers and readers. So that is where one of these important changes are there. So as I said, it is already there, and we see that in Google Translate. So for example, if I want to translate whatever I'm speaking into Malayalam, for example, I can just use Google Translate, and it is doing much better job. So we do it at times, when we have to type out certain things in Hindi or Bengali or whatever. Many of us do use the English term, put it on Google Translate, it translates it for us, and then we use it. So a lot of it is we're already using. Even when you're using Microsoft Word, it tells you where your grammar is going wrong, where you should be using THEIR, or where you should be using HAVE, etc., etc. So this is what is happening, and the interactive voice response when you make up a call to your bank or whatever, much of it is based on this natural language processing. So when you talk to Siri, for example, I'm sure many students do, and ask Siri to start playing a music or to make a phone call to your mother or whatever. So they are all based on this natural language processing. Alexa also. So this process of producing meaningful phrases and sentences in form of a natural language is what NLP is all about. So in news media organizations, and this works more in case of English news these days, is where you have a template and you just have to put in just some certain very small inputs, and it will create a customized news text, customized for different people. For example, the same report we want it different for Kerala users, we want it for Kolkata users. For example, if there is a football match between Bengal and Kerala, and say for example Kerala has won, the text will go out differently. Where in Kerala they'll be kind of celebrating that victory. In Bengal they'll be talking about where it has gone wrong, so on and so forth. So with the same content, without two people writing it, very many different kinds of story can be created. It is being created in a lot of these English media institutions outside India. In India also, it is catching up in some way. So you can tailor content according to what readers want to hear, and according to the location, the time of the day, and so on and so forth. I'm sure that you have access to FM radio in all your cities in Kerala, and I'm sure you might have watched how the which is the popular FM radio channel in Calicut, for example. Do you have FM channels?
Yeah, sure. We have private as well as the government.
Okay, okay. So when you have those FM private radio, and if you see how the RJ talks throughout the day. In the morning, the RJ is full of energy, and talking about good, positive things, and the music is also upbeat and all. In the afternoon, the music goes a lot softer, and the RJ talks a lot more. And in the evening, again, he becomes a little bit more active. And in the night time, the RJ almost talks in a very soft, whisperish tone. So in the different times of the day, the requirement of radio is different. Similarly, the news requirement is also different for location and time. So with the use of artificial intelligence, we can create those kind of content without much trouble. So many people think that it might lead to loss of jobs, but that probably is not true, because it will just change the work of the journalists. So all the journalism students, they need not be scared that where are the job opportunities, and scared about all the figures that I showed right at the beginning. It's just that there is a shift towards a different kind of output. It's a shift towards a different kind of revenue model. It's something that is using technology to address the requirements of the present day society. So that is what is happening. I will not go on to all the details of all these things, because this is just adding to most of the things that I have spoken about. So much of it is, even this emotional turn in journalism is something new, because a lot of our content is not just only about, hard facts, but it's also about addressing the emotional requirements of readers and viewers. So this is where I end, and I would love to address any query that you might have. This is the YouTube channel where I post a lot of my media, analysis content, so on and so forth. So if anyone wants to visit, you can have a look at that as well. Now, whenever possible, I'll be available to answer your questions.
Yeah.
So with the permission of the chair, I end my presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Uma Sangarpandi. It was quite wonderful to listen to you, and we were thoroughly. I mean, personally, I have enjoyed your talk. You touched upon almost all the aspects that has been recently been discussed in and out our digital media, television, everywhere. And even I think we will definitely have augmented reality very soon. You will have somebody coming up and reading your newspaper for you, right? Even would chat with you. I mean, just like what you have, Siri, Cortana, all these figures are now becoming part and parcel of our life. I mean, you cannot, maybe after 5 years, we cannot think of a day without Siri, right? For everything, we need to depend on this AI, artificial intelligence. I mean, I don't know what is in store for us, but anyway, things are going to have a very drastic kind of a change. And I'm sure my students will have questions for you. Dear students, you can put questions on Q&A, or you can raise your hand, or maybe you can type in the chat so that we can convey the questions to our chief guest today, the keynote speaker. So far, no questions have come. I mean, I will just wait for the questions, one or two. Now, my question is, it's an old question. We can just start a discussion with that. See, every time we hear, every 10 years, every 5 years, we hear the word that the newspaper is going to die. So what is in the post-COVID scenario, what do you think will be, whether this particular expression would make any more sense, or does it survive actually?
Newspaper, according to me, let me just go back to one very important thing. One of the things that the media does is this creates a platform for exchange of views as well. So it is a platform for, in a Habermas word, deliberative democracy. So you put your point of view across, I put my point of view, and public opinion gathers steam this way. There are 2 or 3 elements of these kind of discussions. One is that whatever I'm saying, I provide a justification for that. Second is that I'm responsive to concerns. So if I am in a position and somebody is making a point, I must be able to respond to that. And the third is civility. So being civil to each other. I don't agree, but we don't start abusing each other. When we see a lot of other media, for example, Twitter, and many people are scared of putting out something on Twitter because the kind of and we teachers are so sensitive, that we are the most sensitive of people. So people like us would never put out something on Twitter for the abuses that you might get, because whatever you say on either of the side, people might come back at you. So research has shown that it is the newspaper which is actually where these ideas are created, and where these actual good debates happen, and where people are responsive, people provide justifications, people provide there is a civility, and of course there are the historic values and all. And in India, since it is in the language media, and since that is where things are going, maybe the platform on which we read, but the printed word, it will be there. And I'm sure maybe there will be times when probably the revenue model will change, and this and that and so on and so forth. But because of many reasons, I just provided one of the theoretical reasons why the mainstream legacy print media will stay for a number of reasons. although there might be different ways in which news is constructed, news is distributed, and even the way in which it is consumed, but the print media, the written word in some form, will have to stay, and it is something that will will stay as long as the media is there. So obviously, when one technology comes, it comes at the expense of some other technology. But of course, radio is there in terms of podcasting in certain ways. Even cinema is there in some other OTT way or whatever. So of course, we'll have a lot of as you so rightly said, might be having people reading in audio, or maybe in a 3D kind of a metaverse. Maybe somebody would be standing and reading out, or whatever, or just showing you and you lie down. So I don't know what this form will be, but that will continue in my view.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now the floor is open for discussion. Dr. Malim Abraham.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, good. Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
You're audible.
Can you explain the mainstream media black holes?
Okay. So I didn't want to get into all those details. What we actually meant was that the information just gets lost. So in one simple way. So when we talk about black holes, things just get lost. So basically, what means is that in 2 or 3 terms. One is that a lot of information which is maybe relevant does not come out. Second is that maybe it comes out for a time and then it is not continued over a period of time. So much of the information that might be relevant to people does not see the light of the day, and there are different ways of looking at it. So that is exactly what I meant by the black holes. So it's a concept that comes from science. People from the science fraternity would probably appreciate that even better.
Okay, sir.
Now, I think Krishnendu has raised the hand. That's what I've seen. Krishnendu, can you put a question? I think she raised the hand. I'm not very sure. Yes. Is there any question from students? You can either raise your hand or type in chat, or there's a question and answer session, Q&A, there you can type. No questions have come so far. So let me take the liberty, because there are no other questions right now. See, the major difference between the journalistic practices in India and when you compare it with and contrast with the UK, European countries and America, it seems to be say that we lack a kind of a responsibility, because we publish all kinds of news. Even when a murder is done, we'll publish all the details about the murder investigation, where it is going on. Even if it is related to the country's maybe security or other reasons, they'll just go ahead with that. And you remember that even one channel even telecasted the movements of the terrorist squad that during that Bombay attack. So is there something ethical, or should be there anything should be there ethically with respect to the Indian media?
So as I said, at one point of time, one is the kind of people who are creating that content. They may not always be journalists, and even there, the kind of system that we have, and for many reasons, one of the problems that we face is that of, as I said, the problem of revenue. Much of it is dependent on advertisements, and that is why, for example, the Registrar of Newspapers for India has more than 1 lakh publications, but only about 700 to 800 are a part of the Indian Newspaper Society. They are the ones who are, making money, or they are the ones who are there in the business for real business reasons. So the problem of resources, what it does is that the field has not concentrated too much on the content producers. So anyone can become a journalist. You do not require a journalism degree to become a journalist. So it is quite not that professional in that way, because that tradition hasn't been there. And even our journalism schools, have been slightly detached from the industry. There is that big chasm. So the schools, they teach their own things, and when they come to the field, they forget all that, and they have to be with the media policy of that particular institution. So what it has led is that all those inputs which the academia or the research and all the others could have provided is no longer there. It's people just out on their own, doing things that they think is right, and just producing content that they think is working. So as long as you're getting revenue, as long as your business is going all right, people don't bother. But with a new generation of people, where everybody has some kind of a journalism training, anybody who has any bit of journalism training would know that you're not supposed to show the face of a victim if he's a child or if he's a woman or whatever. So this situations are coming. So there are lots and lots of guidelines. The Press Council of India is doing a lot on that, and there are various webinars and this and that are going on. But unfortunately, much of it is not reflected in many of those middle-sized and even language newspapers. And that is why even the academia has a lot to do in this regard, because we need a lot more of that the content analysis and showing people where things are not going right and wrong. So I don't just blame the news organizations. I don't blame the media workers. I don't just blame the researchers, but it's a conjunction of and the policy as well. Plus, our history has been such that we cannot allow the government to regulate on the press, because we know that it can be misused. So because of these many factors, the freedom of expression and all those issues is something sacrosanct. So we let people even do bad journalism, thinking that with time that bad journalism will die out, or people will find out about it. And in many cases it does. So we adopt this slow approach rather than just that top down thing where you regulate and you tell them, or you just tell them that you need to have this or that. That doesn't work. So we let this slow process take over. And probably with digital media and all, people are aware. Even with classes these days, we see that people because of the pandemic, they know what others are studying, and how other institutes and how other teachers and teaching and all. So that pressure is there on the academic institutions also. So once that is there, because I remember we used to watch a lot of Calcutta Maidan football, we used to call it. But once we started seeing what FIFA was, and how they were playing, there were no takers for this. So once you have this in this ecosystem, you will have these changes. So I think because of these ecosystem, because of a new generation of people, because of a new generation of researchers, so on and so forth, we are going to have these changes.
Thank you. Is there any other question from any of the participants or maybe the panelists? Please feel free to ask questions.
So may I ask a question?
Sure, Anita.
It was a very enlightening session, Dr. Uma Sangarpandi. I wanted to know your take on the new trend in the entertainment industry, because we have come across many films being released on the OTT platform. So do you think this pandemic has created some sort of a paradigm shift in the entertainment industry, and is it going to augur well or good for the for this industry?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words, and thank you for the question. Now, I am all for democratizing space, because we grew up in the 90s and late 80s, and the kind of movies we saw, and it's not even laughable. We know how bad they were during that point of time. because there was a small clique of producers, and they managed all the distribution channels and this and that, and that is where a lot of it was scattered. In many ways, the digital platform is a very democratic platform because it allows very many different people, to express themselves, their way. And I know of a lot of wonderful, filmmakers, young filmmakers who might not have been able to even create films. They're able to do that now. Because I remember, in our part of the world, because of giants like Satyajit Ray, almost every young man, at one point of time dreams to become a filmmaker or a poet or whatever. So everyone, come across, every other person wants to become a filmmaker. Used to, in my time at least, in our fraternity. But there was nothing they could do. At most, they had to go for a producer who would produce a film, and there were these many cinema halls, it could be produced there. Or then it came to, television, where you could make, some telefilm kind of a thing. That's all. But now, because it's there, and not just OTT, you can release it on YouTube, you can release it on Vimeo, you can release it on all the other things. So this provides that opportunity. People have a choice, and I believe that the good content will stay, and this competition is required, because otherwise people would say that I don't get an opportunity because of this and that. Now you just don't need, you just put out your content and people will find out. So we don't understand a word of Sinhala. I don't know whether that song was popular in Kerala or not, but there was that song by a singer called Yohani. I mean, and it was called Mani Ke Mage Hite, and it went. People were crazy. Almost everybody here, was humming that song. So from Sri Lanka to Bengal, it became so popular, and there is that, globalized financial capital which will, keep these things going. So if your content is good, and because of this platform is available, I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now the next person can ask the question, if there is any.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
What are the differences you noted between the Indian media and the foreign media after the pandemic?
After the pandemic, I think a lot of the Indian media had to close down because of a number of reasons, which was probably not there in other places, because of very strong fundamentals. They have a very deep rooted this industrial structure, a lot more professional. So they didn't have those kind of things there. But to be fair, the Indian content was as good as anyone else, because we did not fall into the trap that many others did. So it was largely, it helped create a better health literacy. It helped it is one of the places. I mean, if I have to compare with America, there is still a lot of places where there is vaccine hesitancy. People are not willing to, and it's so bad. But here, because of a number of factors, there is no vaccine hesitancy. Everybody is, just lining up to get vaccinated, so on and so forth. But one of the problems, I said, is the lack of security of journalists here, and it is a lot more contractual. I've been a journalist, and I feel, and I happen to go to the press club here quite often, and I'm still a member there. And I see, a lot of these media houses just winding up. So a lot of that professionalism is missing there, because there were some, who were promoted by even chit fund companies, and there were others, where the journalists are not regarded as that important. So people who have other people who are looking to just cut down on this. So many journalists lost their jobs. I mean, there are reports which suggested that almost lakhs of journalists, they lost their jobs. So because of this lopsided media industry structure here, we lost more on the other side. Many people lost their jobs. They're out in, but the option is that there are people who have shifted to the digital platform. So they do have a web portal, they do have a YouTube channel, they do have these kind of things. So this is one change which is more pronounced in India. Other places, the loss in journalism wasn't as much, but again, the ad revenue, they did fall down. But content-wise and otherwise, we are as good as we were, or as bad as we were.
So can I ask another question? It's slightly
Yes,
personal.
Yes, ma'am. Please do, please.
Sir, I learned that you have been a journalist before you joined the academia. So which have you enjoyed more?
Thank you, ma'am. I did journalism I quit journalism in 2002, and those days, it was regarded as very prestigious, and it was a very prestigious thing to do. The good thing is that once you're into media education, you also get to do a bit of journalism too in certain ways. So I get to travel, I get to write those kind of things, but it helps if you have a industry background. It does help, and you are slightly more confident of facing some situations. So I guess it has helped, but it was a logical thing. Initially, I hated coming to academies because it seemed that probably was not the right choice, and I used to go back to my old newspaper office because once the classes ended, I would go back to the office for 2 or 3 hours and just to. But slowly I realized that this is probably so, and we keep. There's a saying we say that once a journalist, always a journalist. So in some ways, that training stays with you, and you keep doing so some of the things that I'm able to do is probably because of the training that I had as a proper journalist on the ground. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the question.
Thank you. So with the permission of all of you, I think we had a very wonderful scholarly lecture, or a talk, I would say, inspiring talk from Dr. Uma Sangarpandi. And we, as a faculty in the Department of English, of course, we always look upon journalism and history as our siblings. So we always had that passion for, even I myself was a student of journalism. I opted journalism for my UG studies as part of the subsidiary. Right then, when just like you said, now when I search in Google, what I actually search, they'll show you the next day. Maybe this is what you are interested in, right? So it has almost like kind of a customization has come. Even the product that I look for, the things that you buy from online market, they started showing the same kind of an advertisement, right? So maybe the news become, in the later days, almost a tailor-made. So we are going to live in a world where we are surrounded by the news that only we are interested in. Just like listening to all kinds of news, you begin to pick and choose. That is a new kind of a reality we are going into. And even advertisements are selected in such a way so that it has a personalized customization. So maybe this is the kind of a new reality we are going to be facing. Maybe a bit difficult for a person of my generation, but maybe comfortable for the children who are actually listening to. So thank you very much for a wonderful session we had. And we actually have come to the end of the entire session of webinars with a wonderful note from you, sir. We are all grateful to you for this time that you have spent with us, the kind of patience you have shown to take the questions. And it was a thoroughly enjoyable session. And for the last part of the formality, I request V.S. Anita to propose the vote of thanks.
We have been listening to a very erudite scholar, a person with deep industrial work in the industry as well as in the academia. On behalf of all the participants of this webinar, I extend a very wholehearted gratitude to the speaker of the day, Dr. Uma Sangarpandi. Thank you, sir, for being a part of the Guruvachan seminar webinar series being organized by the college. Once again, a very big thank you from the bottom of my heart. My next duty is extending vote of thanks to the principal, Dr. C.P. Sujesh, who is the principal in charge. Sujesh sir happens to be the the brain behind this whole webinar series. And throughout this month, we have been having webinars by the different departments of the college. And today's webinar really is the icing on the cake, I will say, because all of the participants thoroughly enjoyed the session, I'm sure. So on behalf of the journalism department, I extend my thanks to Sujay sir. Thank you, sir. And as we all know, the IQAC coordinator, Dr. Shaji Maramvital, has also extended his support and guidance to the webinar series. I extend thanks to Dr. Shaji Maramvital. Thank you, sir. And A.M. Abdul Salam, sir, the coordinator of the webinar, has been very active. He has had a very proactive session as the coordinator. Every day he has been busy putting up posts and reminding the students and all the faculty members to join the webinar. I thank Salam sir for his initiative and drive. Thank you, sir. And of course, I extend my deepest thanks and regards to our head, Dr. V.G. Prashant, for having chaired the session and starting it off on a very good background. He created the background, the apt sort of background in which Dr. Uma Sangarpandi could deliberate. And on behalf of Merlin, the department head of journalism, I extend thanks to Prashant sir also. And of course, thanks are also due to Dr. Merlin Abraham, who delivered the welcome address today. Thank you, Merlin teacher. And last but not the least, thanks to all the participants, all the faculty members, the students, and others, other participants from other, probably, I think I saw a few from outside Kerala. Thanks to all the participants. And I will now ask Prashant sir to do the winding up. Thanks once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. So altogether, it was a wonderful evening. Of course, we never had rains as expected. The rains just vanished. So that we could have the electricity properly and also net connectivity. So that is in a way a blessing in disguise. So thank you for a wonderful evening that you shared with us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Now, I request all the committee members to remain in this particular group. I mean, do not leave Zoom now. And all committee members are requested to stay. We will have another meeting just now. After the guest has left, we will just hold another meeting to discuss the tomorrow's activity, especially the closing ceremony. So thank you, sir. You can now. Yeah, you can now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take your leave.
Thank you. Salamana Todra. Salam. Yes.
നമ്മള് ഓർഗനൈസിംഗ് കമ്മിറ്റി മെമ്പേഴ്സും ഇവിടെ സന്നിഹിതരായിട്ടുള്ള HOD-മാരും പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ പരിപാടി വളരെ സജീവമായി ആങ്കർ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്ന വിദ്യാമിസ്സും ഒക്കെ ഇതിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കണം. അല്ലാത്തവർക്കും പങ്കെടുക്കാൻ കുഴപ്പമില്ല. ഇത്രയും ആളുകൾ നിർബന്ധമായിട്ടും പങ്കെടുക്കണം. ടീച്ചർ വെബിനാർ ഓർഗനൈസിംഗ് കമ്മിറ്റിയിലുള്ള ആളല്ലേ?
ഒരു മിനിറ്റ്. സലാം